So you are from Zurich or Bern?
Exactly. Yes. So
Yeah.
actually, just a quick introduction of this Netcetera. So I'm currently in Bern. We have offices, so the team is in Bern and Zurich, but also in Macedonia. And we are part of Netcetera, which is a bit larger company, like 600 employees. Our automation is that we are here to stay. It's like we want to build up the mixed reality field for the long term. So it's like in mobile applications, where I have been 15 years. It's something that needs time, but there is certainly a market, and we want to stay and grow with this market. So we also build up our partnerships and projects also with this mindset with all the companies. So also what we want to say, even Netcetera is a larger company, you see here the picture, we have a dedicated team that is only working on these technologies, because the market is moving so fast. You always need to be, learning a lot, always keeping up with the new skills and developments. So this is very important to keep the team together and continuously build up our skills, but also add more people and more competencies. So actually, we also say, this is about HoloLens 2, and this is actually, HoloLens 1 is where we actually started, but we found out that coming from mobile apps, we have to support a set of devices. So it's not only to push HoloLens to the market by itself, but to push the new possibilities with augmented and mixed reality. And so some companies, they start with phones and then slowly go over from right to left to the high-end devices. That's a bit from the introduction. Now I would like to slowly get then into the HoloLens topic. So this is the life that many of us know, the digital lifestyle. And, everybody assumes, and I think everybody listening here today is also, very much having this kind of lifestyle. But if you use HoloLens, basically you can go into places, like this, where there is no digital lifestyle yet. This is real reality, right? I mean, there's not any kind of display here, no connectivity. People work with their hands, it's dirty, noisy and stuff. But this is the real potential. I mean, here you can bring additional value by adding digital information on spot to help the workers. That's the promise of mixed reality. Another thing for learning is something that we always see and looks like this. So on the left side, you have like a classroom. Somebody explains you things, and you follow the discussion. You start in your mind to create the pictures how it is, and then suddenly you go to the right. You're on a totally different context on site, and then you have to do the action. And basically, you have to recall all this information that you have learned on the left side. Maybe you're not sure anymore, was it really like this or not? It looks a bit different here, and you feel a bit more unsure. So actually at the moment, until mixed reality was here, learning always happened like this. Now with mixed reality, you can bring the knowledge here right on spot and train it on the spot as well. This is also a huge potential. So where we started, I mean, it was like 2016, feels like 1996 actually. So with the HoloLens 1, and this for us was really like an event where we said, is this the future? Is this the platform about to emerge now? And we soon started to work with companies to validate this. And yes, it was early. Yes, it was not, things were not perfect, but it was a good time to start into these kind of applications. And what did we see when we went to companies? We saw a lot of companies still work with paper. And I said, we had a picture of digital lifestyle, but if you go out, even to larger companies, they still have a lot of paper-based kind of instructions or processes. And basically, paper is solid, but you don't change it frequently, right? While on a digital web page, you just change the instructions. Also, you are limited in the space that you can provide with the information. So if somebody has to go out and let's say, do a check on a new kind of machine and follow these steps, he may be lost very soon. And so, as said, you need much more effort to train him in those actions. So, the promise that we had was like you augment it, right? And you guide the worker to the places. Very simple like this. This is how we started with the HoloLens 1. And if you look at the user interface, this is like how it looked like in the beginning. So we had these kind of instructions on site. Please, verify that those things are okay or not okay. And basically, there are like hundreds of points overlaid on this train wagon. And basically, you have to know where these, things are. And now, if you guide it with mixed reality, you had just to follow this process. So people where it was very easy to train new people to do these inspections on these train wagons. This was actually just a proof of concept, one of the early ones, where we said, does it actually work? Does it work with HoloLens in this kind of dirty context, a bit rough context, with this kind of size and the accuracy that we need? And yes, for this context, actually it works. And so we started, about 4 years ago with this proof of concepts. And then we moved from that to pilots and are going now into production with companies. So this was also development, not only from the platform, but also from the devices. And here certainly HoloLens 2 is an important milestone to also make it much more production ready for companies. So yeah, it felt like 1996 in Netscape 1.0. And I just want to recall you, I mean, this was like a huge breakthrough, right? I mean, you could connect to servers on a different continent and get information. And everybody was like, wow, I did this for the first time. It felt like similar here. And is it possible to do things like that? Of course, now everybody knows that it's possible. And we are now entering version 2 or 3 of these browsers, and they have a lot more features. They're much more connected. And so this is a bit how I compare it. So this is our HoloLens 2 application at the moment. And I think this is really, very well suited for training, because with mixed reality in this kind of device, you really have the best experience. You can mix the reality with, the virtual content. And you can use it for, let's say, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. And these are good times for training. And I think one of the really important things here is, if you're in front of here, you get the instruction, you are much more confident that what you're doing is the right thing that you do. And by actually taking the physical actions with your hands, you kind of incorporate it much better in your brain and memorize it much better. So, this could be even used, imagine you would have to, I would give you a task to replace the light bulb of your car. So if you don't know how to do this, maybe you research a bit, right, on the net. You see this information on the web page, you have to memorize it. And then maybe you have to go to the car and recall this information. If it's just overlaid on your car and it just points you, hey, here you have to unscrew, and then you have to take it off and turn it around, and it shows it right on there. It's kind of very easy to follow that, and you're not scared of doing that anymore. So this is fast forward to HoloLens 2, and now I would like to tell you, this is a short video of that we did here. Because of Corona crisis, we couldn't produce a lot of videos at the companies these days. Where actually you're guided to the different things that you have to do. You get the descriptions, the images, and basically you can also give some status, like you confirm that you do the things right. Yeah, you can even take pictures as a proof how you did it. And the whole thing that we did now, I mean, as I said, it's a process not only from proof of concept to production, but it's a process also from different kind of angles if you look at it. And one of the angles is, of course, for the workers. I mean, as mentioned initially, they are usually not digital, right? So would you just give everybody a HoloLens 2? Probably not for like everyday work, right? So for training, these applications and HoloLens is really much better suited, where you give them the HoloLens 2 for specific times, and they start to get to know the technology. Another thing where we started was actually with the mobile solution of exactly the same. So we said some companies, they have difficulties to buy the devices, or the workers still fear of the new form factor. But even those workers, they have a mobile phone. Even for them, we can give them the same kind of application on the phone with the same kind of instructions and guidance, and it already helps them, you know. And while of course it's never an experience like here, it's already a better experience. So we are starting from those devices and then bring them step by step also to mixed reality. And every company is a bit different. Some jump in here, some can jump in on HoloLens directly, but this is a process for companies. Another thing I would say is that also it's a process, kind of, we want to optimize the training process, right? It's not just about to create an app. So basically for the process for the training, you need to provide the content for the training, you need to manage it. And you also want to see the results, how fast people were doing, get some measurement data out of that. So basically we have this kind of backend where you can look at those kind of data. And yeah, also for the management, you have this kind of recorder feature where basically you can capture, go around how people work, and then get this knowledge and start creating a training session very cost effectively. So yeah, I jumped over a bit, but this is an important thing. And as I said, once you have this, you can then set up the instructions, add some more information on the training, and once the people did the training, you do the data analysis and look at that. So it's not only about a standalone app that you install on the HoloLens and you have to do everything on the HoloLens. You can basically go around with your phone, observe somebody with the phone, create videos of it, how somebody's doing it, and then feed it in, and then consume it again on the HoloLens 2, for example. And you can then also add 3D data on it if you like to. So it's very flexible in how you use it, because we don't really want to limit people. And some people that we saw, they are working like this, then you really have to have even other devices like these industrial organized devices. They're of course also limited, but you can also guide them here, people with digital information on the glasses here. And they are intended really for this outdoor, very heavy context. But now let's really go to HoloLens 2, because as I said, for training and indoor usages, it's really the premium device. And here the user experience is, I think, of very utmost importance. So we consciously said, this HoloLens 1, we just throw it away. We create everything new on HoloLens 2. We want to take the new possibilities and really do a great user experience for the workers. And why do we want this? Because those people, they're not used to digital apps. So we really have to make it easy, but still provide a feature set which is good enough, right? And so this is something that we really have to invest. And I think it's really worth to invest, because you will get just a much better acceptance when you use it, and when people use it. And it's not something where everything is defined yet. So Microsoft is doing a good job in providing some base libraries for the mixed reality toolkit, for example. This already helps a lot, but the UX standards for mixed reality, they are not yet defined. And for me, this is like still the pre-iPhone area for mobile phones. When iPhone came, they defined so many things and everybody just followed them. So here we are kind of still before this phase. So maybe it will be a mixed reality toolkit, maybe it will be some other toolkit. At the moment, this is still open, but this also means that you cannot just, let's say, take an established standard and just apply it. You still have to think a lot how to make a good UX. And to make this, you have to test, iterate a lot. I'd like to show you now some of the things. So if you work with HoloLens 2 and you're in 3D space, you move around, right? It's not about just standing still. So one of the things is, while moving around, where is your user interface? Where do you kind of see the information? So one of the things is that sometimes you may get lost because you're walking around so much that you know, it's not visible anymore. You turn around. So one thing that you want is that you can always bring it up easily. So this is one of the patterns. Just I show it again. So basically, you know, you want to see the information for this. You put on your hand and it appears immediately. So you never have to search around again, and you can work fast. And this is a pattern many people are applying now, and I think it's a good pattern, but there's still some danger in it. And one of the things is really about this situation. So I put up my hand here. For once, this is really great. For a second time too. But you don't want to always put up your hand like this every time again when you just want to see some information, because you have this arm fatigue by just lifting up your arm. This over time will make you tired, and it would just limit the amount of time that you want to use this application. So while we certainly always want to support this, because it gives you the power to always show you the user interface, we don't want to limit ourselves that you have to do it. So one of the things is to kind of provide a smart follow, that user interface can follow you, but that it still doesn't disturb you. So here you see like the information. So I have these PowerPoint things. Let me just do this again. So you can work on this item. You go to the next item somewhere around the corner, and basically you walk a little bit over, and because now the user interface follows you. And I think here it's really important that, you know, while you move a little bit, the user interface still stays here, because you don't want that it disturbs your view, that it comes and flies in your view. But after you move a certain distance, let's say 2 meters or some other distance that you may even set yourself, that it can follow you, and you don't always have to lift your hand again. And you can continue to work immediately. Another thing is also, what kind of information do you want to show? I mean, you know, in virtual reality, we of course we have these immersive, you know, scenes, and you are like impressed with everything. But here we are in a real reality, and it's important that you see the reality. Example, for security reasons, for other reasons, you don't want just to, you know, use the full screen space all the time and just lay over around you all a lot of windows and information. So basically, try to keep your user interface, like say, compact, but still sometimes you need to show additional information. And this is one example. So if you need some additional information here, you could enlarge it, right? You could enlarge it, but not that you kind of fill up the whole screen. And for example, if you then move to the next item, it will be automatically dismissed. And only do this if you really need the context. So here you have the video, you have the instructions here. I think it's good to have both information at the same time. So this is a scenario where you want to have those two things, but don't add, you know, another and another and another screen. So one thing, you know, this is for me a counterexample, an application that, you know, you just lay out additional information here and there and here again and again here. And basically you're playing like after that, you know, maybe it's nice to open it, but after that you have to play window manager, you know, you move around all this stuff yourself, close them again, or suddenly you don't see reality anymore. So this is important that you really take care of the space that you have. You have the big benefit that you can just place things in space. You can make them grow bigger and smaller, but don't just, you know, throw things all over. Another thing is about things can get hidden in real space, right? I mean, they are not just always in front of you. And try to find a good way to give this information to the user without overloading him a lot. So here this one item in front of you, you move to the next item, and you know, we still show the line, but we show it in a more different way that the user knows it's somewhere hidden behind here. If you wouldn't do this, it just doesn't look good because it's kind of conflicting in your brain. You know, you see a line which you basically shouldn't see, but you can still indicate the user, hey, go there, and then once you're there, basically it appears again how it should appear. With the eye tracking, we have a lot of advances, and this is still a very new field. You see that it's really good to help the user to not always have to point again with your finger or to select something, but that the system knows what you actually want to look at. So one of the options here is that basically you can select an image and look at it, it gets activated, and then basically you can select it to, so I just say select and it opens. Whenever I look at it, you know, it grows up, you can see it here. I look at it and I just look at it and say select. And they look at the next and say select. So here you can really make it very easy for the user to just, you know, navigate through the user interface, because you don't need to do these clicks anymore. Basically, it understands a little bit what you want to do. Something maybe here, maybe, you know, different than other people, but I find it was very hard to enter text, you know, in virtual reality systems or mixed reality and also HoloLens. And I think now with, you know, all the systems having hand tracking, it becomes again possible. You know, it's like something that you always thought, you know, never ever try to enter text. But now, because you just show the virtual keyboard, you track your fingers, you can enter again text. I mean, I wouldn't write like an article like this, but entering a, you know, some words is again quite easy because you just type it here very quickly without having to do a lot of errors, and you're quite fast already. So if you need to make a comment, I think this is possible again now. And one of the last features I want to show, this is a demo from Mixed Reality, actually, is about the heat map. So I wanted to show it because this is a feature, and I think it's very worthwhile to use for training scenarios. So you know, here I look at those things in a circle, and you see the heat map where I have been looking at. And why is this important? I think this is important, for example, if you have training sessions where you need to make sure that people follow some instructions or take care of some things, that you know, tell them, please watch this kind of information. Please make sure that you check that this item is closed or switched over. You can actually measure that. So, and sometimes maybe the user doesn't even know where he looked at, but here you can actually analyze this data, and this is very new, possible, and I think it will be used a lot for these kind of applications in the future. So yeah, I showed you a lot of things that are now possible with HoloLens 2, and I think these are really important for training. I think just as a final statement, I would say, you know, do it right and achieve the promises of this kind of platform. If you want to work on HoloLens mixed reality, it allows you to do so many things, but you can also do it the wrong way. And I saw also quite some companies trying to do it and they didn't do it properly, and they just say, oh, it doesn't work. But maybe they just didn't try it the right way. So really invest your time to make it proper, and the value is here. You can achieve it. And we want to be the craftsman that actually can help you to do this. So thanks for listening to this presentation, and I'm still available for questions if there are any.
Okay, thank you very much, Reto, for this presentation. Greatly appreciate. And if someone has a question, please raise your hand in Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And so if there is no question, I have one for you, Reto. What's about Magic Leap actually? Did you make some project or some testing and compare the HoloLens 2 and the Magic Leap?
Yes, we did quite a few projects with Magic Leap, and Magic Leap was, when it came out, it was just a leading device in mixed reality. I mean, because it already had the eye tracking, it also had the hand tracking, and HoloLens was still took still 1.5 years to HoloLens to come out, right? So we could take advantage of it, and we really liked the Magic Leap platform and like the company kind of. On the other hand, we also think the HoloLens 2 is now out, and in the race of the mixed reality devices, now HoloLens 2 is here, and companies are adopting HoloLens 2. So I think at the moment we have to work with HoloLens 2 because demand is higher from the companies. Yes. On the other hand, I think Magic Leap, as said, they are working also on the next generation, and I think these are great guys and they do great stuff, and it's very good to also work on that platform. But as I mentioned initially, we want to be trusted for the companies. We help every company, be it on Magic Leap, on HoloLens 2, and we see both have advantages and disadvantages. So we don't want to say we do one platform exclusively, but use the devices that is really best suited for the company.
Okay, great. Sorry. And then?
Yeah, and then I think, once Magic Leap 2 would come out, I think it could be again very interesting as well, for many, because I think there will be new concepts behind it probably. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much, Reto. I really appreciate it. I want to say to the attendees that Augmented is one of the leading companies in Switzerland in Augmented and virtual reality, and one of the great supporters of SSVAR, and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Reto. Yeah. And if you have any question, feel free to ask to Reto in chat or by email, etc. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Philippe.
Bye-bye.
To you, and great for helps. Thanks for organizing everything.
Thank you.
It was a great day.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye, Reto.
Bye. See you then.